Thank you for listening today. Today's podcast is going to be talking about the role maximal strength has in regards to athletic development. I get the question quite a bit, how much is enough strength? Is there such a number as too much strength? And whether or not we should be always trying to improve maximal strength. The first thing I want to touch upon is that there is no such thing as being able to produce too much force. There's not a thing. However, the process in which we develop maximal strength and therefore maximal force producing qualities might hinder other aspects of athletic development. For example, if we spend all our time developing maximal strength, we might induce hypertrophic gains that reduce our relative strength and reduce our relative amount of force output compared to our body weight. At the same time, by training for maximal strength, we might be using movements and rep schemes that are more favorable to slow twitch, long duration, powerlifting-esque movements as opposed to faster dynamic movements. By doing such, we might be sacrificing some of the fast twitch type 2X fibers in regards to adaptation. However, if we could produce and increase maximal force without having any hindrance on other athletic development qualities, there's no reason why maximal strength and maximal force should not be trained. Again, this is highly hypothetical because, as we know, increasing maximal strength and training for maximal strength is going to, at times, depending on the athlete's level, hinder the development in specific areas. So again, having too much force is not such a thing. However, the process of developing that force might be an issue. That's why you come across situations where someone might be strong enough. However, strong enough isn't always quantifiable, and it's not always a specific numerical value for the individual for the given sport. Obviously, there are examples like in football, an offensive lineman might be better off training for maximal strength as opposed to a javelin thrower. However, this doesn't mean that force doesn't dictate the end product of the javelin thrower's performance. It just means that training for maximal strength in regards to javelin throwing might hinder other aspects of athletic development. Some of those aspects being the speed at which the muscle contracts, the speed at which the neural firing properties take place, so rate of force development, and the overall transfer from those maximal strength exercises might not come to fruition because they're independent of those speed-related qualities. However, if you could develop maximal force in someone who is just naturally stronger than someone else, without having any hindrance on those athletic development qualities, there's no such thing as too much force. But possibly, again, in the real world situation, there may be a distinction between too much training to develop force versus having too much force. So, small distinction that's important to make because people say, oh, it's that person's strong enough. Well, theoretically speaking, I would love to be as strong as possible and stay at my relative body weight and produce more force because ultimately force produces motion, and force is one of the driving principles behind power development. However, if the process of developing force hinders my other athletic development qualities, then this time I spend developing that force might not be beneficial, which is why you see some of these qualifications of someone being strong enough. It's important to note that training for any specific quality, whether it's speed, strength, speed, or maximal force, all these qualities are being trained to help facilitate adaptations that improve athletic performance. So at the end of the day, everything we do in the weight room is designed to facilitate performance. So in the long run, if somehow we could facilitate performance and improve performance without ever having to touch a weight, when I say performance, I include all aspects of performance. So that is injury resiliency, tissue quality, in all aspects that go into it. So theoretically, if we could improve that without ever having to touch a weight or a barbell, I think we'd all pick the route that was most efficient at improving athletic development, regardless of the means through which we do it. So thanks for listening today. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on my Instagram account at strong_by_science, my Twitter handle, which is strong_science, or send me a message on YouTube itself. I'll do my best to give a thoughtful, evidence-based answer the best I can. And if I'm just completely stumped, I'll do my best to point you in a direction to someone who can answer it better than I can. So today's talk was fairly short and hopefully somewhat informative. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.